All right, Acho. Carson Wentz silenced his critics last night.
You see the smile on my face showing all my teeth that this orthodontist so gladly fixed. Yes, you know what, let me be honest.
Okay.
Let me be honest.
Smiling that much.
He didn't silence him, Marcellus, but he shushed him.
Oh, okay.
You know when you walk into a large function with your kids, I know it's probably happened to you. I don't know if your kids are good kids or bad kids, but every now and then you be like, shh, y'all be quiet. Hey. They might not completely shut up, but they quiet down a little bit.
In the building.
See, Carson Wentz, he made you have to whisper your critique. A guy like you, Marcellus, today on this lovely Friday, you can't come out here and say it with your chest.
Oh, you think?
Your disgust of Carson Wentz, because he went out there and he said, hey, Marcellus, shh. You know how some people do that, they do this. That's what he did. That's what he did. Marcellus, he started great and he ended great.
What happened?
There was a whole lot of ugly in the middle.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole lot of ugliness. But what do they say? All is well that ends well.
Ooh,
and Carson Wentz, he shushed him. He ain't silenced him completely because there was still a little dirt that he needs to fix, still a little bit of dirt that he needs to figure out. But at the point in which you go into a game without Zach Ertz, at the point in which you go into a game without Miles Sanders, okay, but you had Lane Johnson and you had star receiver Deshaun Jackson, but neither of them finished the game and you still get the dub. Marcellus, all I'm going to say to you is this. Can you look at me? Can I get a $2? Just me, Marcellus? Just me, Marcellus, please.
Just me and you.
Here it is, Marcellus.
Oh.
That's all I got for you.
Wow. That's all you got? You sure? You want to really start this conversation off with that? Hell no, he didn't silence his critics. He needs to work on enhancing the voice of his supporters. That's what he needs to work on, because his supporters are even like they're scared. They're tepid with their praise from. He kind of looked good, right? Like in the beginning and the end. And forget the second and the third quarter where he did not look like a number 2 overall pick. Here's Carson Wentz right now. Wow, what a twilight zone we live in. When Carson Wentz, who's leading the league with the most turnovers, most picks in 7 games since who? Sam Bradford in 2015. Wait a minute, 2015, Sam Bradford. Oh, Carson Wentz wasn't there. Oh, because Sam Bradford was so bad that year, they actually drafted Carson Wentz to fix the issues that Sam Bradford had caused. And where do they find themselves in 25 years later? In the same exact place. A team that has lost twice as many games as it has won, with the number 2 overall pick. But I should call him number 3 overall, because that's how much money he's making this year. 3rd most cash. But when I look at the stats, I see your passer rating is not 3rd or 2nd. It's 30th. When I look at your completion percentage, it's not 2nd or 3rd. It's 32nd, dead last. This is a guy right now that is going out there with reduced expectations, certainly not number 2 overall pick expectations. We've reduced them to a point where now, if he shows us anything, we're like, hip, hip, hooray, go Carson. You look like a 6th rounder right now. Come on,
the disrespect.
The disrespect. The lack of respect to play the game and the position up to your standard or up to expectations.
Here's my problem, Marcellus. You have selective vision.
Really?
Yes. Here's what I mean by that.
LASIK.
When Cam Newton against the Seattle Seahawks, he balled. What did you say after that game? Just paraphrase. How did you critique Cam Newton after that game?
He looks really good. He's gonna make this team that's sorry look good.
Great. Yeah. Cam Newton had 390 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns, 1 pick in that game against the Seahawks. We proclaimed that Super Cam was back. Carson Wentz had 360 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns, 1 interception last night against a better Giants defense, and you're still skeptical. That tells me that you're biased. You're not looking at the facts.
Really?
You're not looking at the reality. You praised Cam Newton for doing the exact same thing that Carson Wentz did against a better defense last night.
Oh, my God. Did Carson Wentz throw for over 60% completion percentage last night? Oh, no, he didn't. Oh, no, he didn't, because that's not what he does. The Mendoza line, before we even talk about are you good or great, you got to get over 60%. Somehow, some way, Carson Wentz finds himself under that number more times than on top of that number. But you know what, Acho? One thing I don't want to do, and I learned this in my relationship counseling, is win arguments. Because when I win, you lose. And we're in a relationship. I learned that with my wife. She wins a lot of arguments, but then I feel like a loser. So you know what? I'm not in a competition with you. I'm going to compliment you on everything you're doing right now. And instead of us going at it as adversaries, let's use the words of others so maybe that you can attack them and I won't feel like a winner or a loser. Let's see who says this. Maybe on the stat sheet things look good, as you just went out there and stated, but there's probably a couple throws or decisions he wants back. Who said that? Oh, it's Coach. It's disappointing that Wentz seems to be regressing in some concerning ways, but boy, was that a discouraging performance. Right now, he is much like the Eagles. Bad. Who said that? Oh, Bo Wolf. You know who Bo Wolf is? He was out there with
Writer
you.
for the Eagles.
Yeah, he's a writer for the Eagles. He sees Carson Wentz more than both of them.
When were these quotes made?
These were made this morning and last night. So here's the point. After watching what we saw yesterday, you have to be real about this. Have we seen 4 quarters of good football from a number two?
We have not.
So what the hell are we up here talking about? The critics have been silenced. The critics are sitting there saying, you're spazzing. At best, you show signs of life, but most of the time, you're the one that digs the ditch for the team to have to escape from. And then, yeah, you're the reason, Captain Save-A-Bro, but at the same time, I'm not believing that we will be in these deficits if you were playing up to your expectations.
That's fair, but I'll say this.
That's fair.
It's fair. Again, I'm an analyst before I am a fan, although a little bit of Eagles green is still in my veins because it's still in my pocketbooks and my bank account. Carson Wentz, Marcellus hasn't given us 4 great quarters.
No.
But he hasn't necessarily needed to earlier on. Right now, what we need from Carson Wentz is getting dubs. That's what he did, Marcellus.
I'll give you that.
He has 4 fourth-quarter comebacks in the last 11 games. To put that in context for so many of you fans and your beloved Dak Prescott had 1 in the last 20. I just want to put it in context. I'm not necessarily saying one's better than the other, but just the context of look at what Carson Wentz did. And again, Carson Wentz started on fire. 4 for 4. Then again in between, and y'all look at the numbers because the numbers actually tell it best. Let's look at Carson Wentz by the drives. His first drive, 4 for 4, 45 yards and a touchdown. Then the next 9 drives, 16 for 32, 1 pick, 193. But Marcellus, in the last 4 minutes, the Eagles are down 21-10. Carson Wentz, you have to show up. He goes 5 for 7. 121 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. I still don't understand how you can knock that. Like, you was probably watching the presidential debate. See, the difference between me is I was watching the debate and watching the game. You must have just been watching the debate, and you must not have been watching the game that I was watching.
Oh, so you didn't pay attention to either one because you were split in both. Oh, okay, so you got half the knowledge of the debate and half the knowledge of this game. Well, let me fill in the other half of the game that you didn't watch, the second and third quarter. I was like, you know me, I watch games with rooting interest. So the first quarter, I was like, I'm not going on Twitter. I'm not texting Acho. I don't even know who Acho is because I'm so upset Carson Wentz is balling out of control. And then the second and third quarter, my kids couldn't tell me nothing. I'm stomping around the house like, can't wait to go to work tomorrow. And then there's that fourth quarter. Here's the problem about that fourth quarter and that miraculous play and perfect pass. I give them that. The funny thing about a close game is that a play at the end tends to overshadow everything we saw before.
That's fair.
You know?
That's fair.
And when you get into those moments, all of a sudden we forget all of the learns from the first 3.5 quarters where Carson Wentz was not that dude. And if you're going to be so heavily invested in Carson Wentz and still look at Carson Wentz as a guy who's lost more than he's won this year, even in these subtle and these simple highlights that you find. You can run to the board all you want, but you're only going to be up there for a couple minutes because then you got to come back here.
I'm going to be in shape, though. Okay, running back and forth, I'm going to be in shape.
But most of the time, you're going to be here. You know why? Because there's not too many highlights out there for Carson Wentz.
Let me ask you, though. Carson Wentz, he gave you 360 yards. He did give you 3 touchdowns, 1 interception.
He did.
What more did he need to do for you? 360 yards and 3 touchdowns, Marcellus. Let's just be real. That's a very, very, very impressive performance for any quarterback.
You know what I need from him? I need this. I need consistency. Coaches love reliability. I don't care if you're great or sorry. Just let me know who you are so then I can plan accordingly. You can look at Doug Peterson, even through his erratic play calling, because he doesn't know which quarterback is going to show up by any given series. I need someone who understands pockets and the pocket awareness. Carson Wentz is a guy that literally will get in his own way and then save himself from getting in his own way and then say, where's my praise? I can't keep giving this out like this, Acho. To me, he's an issue for this team.
Any factor with the fact of he truly is playing without all of his best weapons. It seems like you don't give him a bump for that. You talk about Mike McCarthy and you're like, well, he's without his starting quarterback. You give other people excuses, but where's Carson Wentz's excuse? Not even excuse.
Yeah.
Where is Carson Wentz's explanation? You literally don't have Zach Ertz. You don't have Miles Sanders. I'm like, it's all good because Lane Johnson's coming back.
Right.
Deshaun Jackson's coming back. But then Lane Johnson gets hurt. His starting right tackle, Pro Bowl right tackle, Deshaun Jackson, the best receiver on that team, if all the receivers are healthy, he gets hurt. He doesn't play the last drive.
Right.
Marcellus, Carson Wentz threw the game winner to a 5'6" running back.
Yeah.
That, to me, means more than if Carson Wentz were to have all his weapons.
Look, here's the thing. Here's the problem with Carson Wentz. Even with the injuries, I don't give him a pass. One, your decision-making ability. I don't give a damn who's out there. It could be the Pop Warner boys you just found. And then it's Carson Wentz and 10 Pop Warner players. Your decision-making is not dependent on what they're doing. It's dependent on what's happening between here. And two, accuracy. You're under 60%. Doesn't matter who's running the routes. Get them the ball. If you were 70%, I know they've had drops, but if you were around 70%, you talked about Cam Newton in that same Seattle game, 68%. When you talk about Carson Wentz in his good or great game, 58%. It's a completely different ball game when you're talking about a guy who at least gives you opportunities time and time again to win.